Alright, so for this video, I wanted to talk about the short answers section of the National College Match application for Questbridge. Just wanted to give some advice and tips on what kind of strategies you can use to help yourself get through this section. So again, just a little about me. If you've already watched the other video, you might already know what position I'm in. But anyways, my name's Taylor. I am currently a part of the incoming 2020 class of Questbridge National College Math Scholars, and I'll be attending a partner school, hopefully this fall, if the COVID-19 situation doesn't reach up until then. But here's hoping it won't. So just as a disclaimer, Questbridge has the practice of sort of moving around essay prompts or maybe editing them or changing them. So I'll be using the 2019 National College Match application for my reference. So just be aware that depending on when you're accessing the application, it might be different for the year you're in. So there's that. Just wanted to put out there that I made a separate video for essay 1, which is the biographical essay, but on the application it's called essay 1. So I'll put that link in the description below. So in other words, I'll just be using the 2019 National College Match application as a sort of an example, but I'll provide general advice that can fit most any Questbridge application down the road, if they don't change it that drastically between the time that I've made this video and the time you're listening to it. But I digress, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, now let's move forward to talking about what this video is actually supposed to be about, which is the short answers. And before I discuss the different parts of the short answers section of the National College Match application, I just wanted to make a quick analogy that I think will be helpful for everyone filling out this part of the application. And so the analogy that I want to make is kind of comparing the short answer section to a mystery novel. Because to the Questbridge readers who are reading your application, you're a mystery. They've probably never met, seen, or heard you speak. The only way you can communicate yourself, your goals and aspirations, and what you want to do later down the road, to them is through your writing, the writing that you'll be doing in the National College Match application. So, you want your answers to reflect a wide range of the things that compose your personality, whether this may be part of your extracurriculars or clubs or organizations that you are a part of, you volunteer in, etc. You want to have that kind of broad range of those kinds of things being put forth in the short answers section. In other words, you don't want to repeat answers or have extremely similar answers for two questions. This also applies for when you're writing the other sections, such as essay 1 or essay 2, or the other short writing portions of the application. You want to kind of spread out your answers and not repeat the same answer for any two questions. This will allow the QB readers to gain a fuller and deeper picture of who you are as a person and as a possible finalist or a possible match scholar down the road. So now let's discuss part 1 of the short answers section of the National College Match application. Part 1 of the short answers section is a key segment of the whole Questbridge National College Match application. As of 2019, there are 2 short answer questions which have a word limit of 200 words each. I consider this an important portion of the application as it gives the readers a window into your mind, into your process and method of thinking. It shows them how you think and react to questions as a learner, as a student, as a scholar. This is because of how relatively tight the word limit is. This word limit obviously forces you to develop a succinct but meaningful response. So definitely you're not going to be beating around the bush. I wouldn't say you're not going directly straight to the answer, but you want to keep everything that might be peripheral to your main response out of the writing for this one. So just to give you some context, the questions in part 1 of the 2019 National College Match application were as follows. Question number 1 was, and I quote, "Tell us about one of your proudest achievements or moments and what it says about you," unquote. Question number 2 was, quote, "If you could meet a character from a book or a historical figure, who would it be and what would you ask them?" Unquote. So obviously both of these questions are open-ended. However, the readers expect you to still have the kind of introduction, body, conclusion, setup, or organizational schematic you usually write in. Just as a side note, this will help the readers understand where you're going with the essay, but also help you understand your own writing. I'd also like to point out how both questions have that reflection part installed into both of them. In the first question, the reflection part is, quote, "what it says about you," unquote. In the second, the reflection comes from, quote, "what would you ask them," unquote, the figure that they're asking you to identify. So it shows you how the Questbridge application in general wants you to be constantly reflecting and meditating upon the things you put into your application. So it's not just, oh, here, that's my answer. It's also, that's my answer, and here's why it's my answer, and here's how it pertains to who I am as a person. And of course, as in all broad and open-ended questions, there are no quote-unquote right answers. However, the best ones, I would argue personally, would be the ones that truly express who you are. To illustrate, in the second question, which was about that identification of a character from a book or history that you would want to meet, you would want to choose a character that probably has profoundly moved you or excited you. And making a good choice to this question will inevitably lead you to being more passionate in your writing. You always want to make sure you're passionate about your responses in the application that goes for any scholarship/college application, because once you have that kind of passion in your writing, it will be less painful to write at length about the topic, and it'll produce a better piece of prose in general. In any part of the application, don't try to fake sincerity or your personality. This will end up in an empty feeling in your writing, and the Questbridge readers can tell. Throughout the Questbridge application and any longer scholarship application, you want to have this kind of hidden thesis to it. Maybe, so a sort of defining characteristic to your application. Maybe that's, oh, I am a responsible person because I did this or that, or I am a passionate person because I did this or that. It's not something you're going to say explicitly, but rather you're going to mean it implicitly throughout your application. Okay, now for part two. Part two of the National College Match application, the part two for the short answer section, there are 7 questions. They're all pretty short, and you only have a few words in which you can answer all of the questions. But it's somewhat more simple, as you will be answering questions that are more specific and more tailored to your individual character. And you're the only person that can answer them in the application, because they're all things that are less general and extremely specific. So I will read all of the short answer questions on the 2019 National College Match application for context. The questions are as follows. 1. What is your favorite subject and why? 2. What are your favorite books and or movies? 3. What is your favorite source of inspiration? 4. How do you spend a typical weekend? 5. What is the compliment you have been paid that you are most proud of? Who gave you that compliment? 6. After a challenging experience, how do you rejuvenate? And 7. What would you contribute to your future college campus community? So it goes without saying that all of these questions don't have right answers. They just want you to be you, and they want you to be true to yourself. Also, you don't have to fill up all of the words given to you in the word limit, but since it's a short word limit, it's probably not going to change that much. And you just want to have a good list that represents you for each question. Okay. Obviously, all these questions can only be accurately answered by the person filling out the application. So in my case, that was me. In your case, it will be you. So again, don't try to fake answers just so you think you can make yourself sound smarter or more interesting. For instance, when answering the question about what your favorite books are, don't blindly put down Tolstoy's War and Peace or Austen's Pride and Prejudice just to try to impress your readers. Try to put down what you have actually read and what you actually enjoy to read. It will make you stand out, I promise you. This being yourself principle applies to any scholarship and or college application. However, I should caution you about being yourself, quote unquote, by quoting Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts. He said in a speech, and I'll link the speech in the description because I think it's a very well done piece of verbal communication, quote, "In a certain sense, you should not be yourself. You should try to become something better. People say be yourself because they want you to resist the impulse to conform to what others want you to be. But you can't be yourself if you don't learn who you are, and you can't learn who you are unless you think about it," unquote. So what I'll just say is that in any application, try to think hard about who you are before you start the application process. So you want to have a reflective process before you apply to the Questbridge application and any other application process. So you know what you're trying to accomplish and you have that kind of why you're doing this. The last piece of advice for this part is to be aware of your grammar, spelling, and punctuation. And this is applicable to all of the short answer section and the Questbridge National College Match application in general. As you have shorter pieces of writing, mistakes will be very apparent. So remember, you still want to show your readers that you possess an attention to detail and you're taking the application as seriously as you can. So that leaves me with my thank you. So thank you for watching this video about the short answer portion of the Questbridge National College Match application. Remember that it may vary for you in your own application depending on what year or when you're doing this application. Please make sure to check out my other video, which was on the biographical essay. This is called Essay 1 on the application. I will be making a video on Essay 2 soon after the release of the video you're watching right now. As a parting word, remember to keep true to who you are in these short answers and try to always have 100% clean grammar, spelling, and punctuation. Thank you.